to thank all of you for the enormous work what has happened last year. I know, of course, there are some leaders who have done more than the individuals in itself, but it's very important to understand that all of you are extremely important for the delivery of HockeyID. I see already that Norman agrees with me because he is the first one who is happy that you are all supporting him. There has happened a lot since last year. If I realize that what has happened really, and I will try to mention it a little bit because otherwise it takes too long. But first of all, I have to mention, of course, the Special Olympic World Games in Berlin in June this year. A lot of you were there. And you have felt the energy and the inspiration coming from such a tournament. I admire very much all the staff around the HockeyID players because I can imagine it is an enormous responsibility to travel with a group for more than a week and to take care that everything is okay. But the happiness of the players and the joy I've seen, it is really heart-touching. And it was also heart-touching, Norman, to see the pictures of your group who lead it all afterwards and the happiness that was from your faces to show that you enjoyed the hard work to make it happen. I will never forget Natasha, who was breaking at the moment that really the Special Olympics agreement was signed between FIH and Special Olympics International. That was a big moment for all of us, but you have done so much to make it happen. I can imagine that you could hardly believe that it happened. And see where we are now. We are now an officially recognized sport within Special Olympics. And what it means for the players that they have a second opportunity to come in our sport. They will get support in their countries. We can hardly imagine how we're changing the life of a lot of people all over the world. And because you are in the middle of it between FIH and Special Olympics and the player, your work is extremely important. The signing of the agreement with Special Olympic International was indeed a fantastic moment there in the sunshine in Berlin. I will never forget, and I don't think you will. What has happened since then? Norman started to build structure in the things. He understood that if we want to have events and the rest of the development, that there needs to be a kind of a sport resource team. And I've seen that all names of the continents come back in that resource team, and that will take care that we have a lot of events in the future. It will be hard work, but with you, we can manage it, of course. We have some new nations starting HockeyID. It is Poland, Barbados, and Malaysia is even restarting it. So they can't miss us, and that's a good sign. Two clear things that are happening to improve the structure. We have the Love is All project from Erasmus Plus in Europe, and the whole of the world can enjoy what is the outcome there. There will be a toolkit coming up of how you can start up at grassroots level, how you can develop coaching and umpiring, how you can start events, and what are life skills that are needed. And you can imagine that with all the new knowledge, and Gino, I've seen you in Bulgaria last week, there's happening a lot. And maybe it's not always easy, but I'm sure it will progress. And with the enormous work Dimitri is doing in Bulgaria, I'm so happy I see your face. It's unbelievable. And your good contacts also with Mariah Gabriel. Well done. She's I don't know, stalwart is the word, I think. So that's the right thing. Fantastic that you've done it. And last but not least, Norman and this group will start a strategic plan 24-28 to give all of you the key pillars of the future and give the developments we have to work on. So if I understand realize, that's the word, what has happened in the last couple of years. When we started in Europe with the Euro hockey and you're in your own environment where working, then it's really going very fast, at least a lot faster than other developments in the world. And this is really a chapter where we can be hopeful and have a good feeling about the future. So I wish you a fantastic meeting, and I hope all your plans and dreams will come true. Realize that I'm always here to support you. Wherever you need me, ask me, and I will help you. Okay? Enjoy. Toi, toi, toi. Oh, Norman, you are the next one.
Thank you, Marijke, and welcome everybody. Great to see 38 plus attendees and then the presenters. Really good numbers of attendees again. I'd like to present to you the strategic plan that Marijke has mentioned. But before I go on to that, a big thank you, Marijke, from all of us for all the lobbying you've done at board level, at IOC level, and at executive board of FIH and Euro Hockey to make us a very important part of the hockey family. We really do appreciate the work you've done to help us behind the scenes. So Andre, if you could load up, please, the strategic plan PowerPoint presentation for us. This plan is in draft form at the moment, so please feel free to add suggestions once you've seen this and we've shared it with you after the meeting. Next one, please. Or can I control it from here? Yeah, we have several milestones that we're looking to hit over the next 4 years, and they're listed on this slide. The FIH ID resource team, which is part of the Special Olympics MOU, has been formed, and we have representatives from each of the hockey continents, from Pan Am, from Oceania, from Africa, from Asia, and from Europe. And that resource team met for the first time in February, and we'll be meeting shortly after this forum again to update ourselves and to work out what our priorities are going forward. In October this year, an educational toolkit for coaches will be available in pilot form for you to help us with and have a look at and trial out and give us feedback. The events toolkit from the Love Is All project will follow in December this year. And then in April next year, a life skills, building up of confidence, building social skills and teamwork, all those sorts of ideas and concepts will be part of the toolkit that will be shared with you by April 2025. By December 2025, our dream is that just like regular hockey, we have a 4-year events calendar for HockeyID that all our member nations can buy into and sustain. And you'll see a slide later on about that. And then big, massive event, July 2027, HockeyID at the Special Olympics World Games, looking 90% certain that will be in Chile, in Santiago in 2027. And we're very fortunate that Chile is a very hockey-minded nation, and they have insisted that hockey be part of their program at this moment in time. So those of you interested in building up programs that allows you to send a team, a quota to Chile, please, that's the target, July 2027. And then by 2028 July, the end of this strap plan timeline, we want to have 35 plus active HockeyID nations. At the moment, we stand around 28 active nations. We want to have found another 7 nations who starting to sustain programs for HockeyID. Next, please. So the plan, we hope, is realistic and sustainable. We want to grow and develop HockeyID into a global force, following on from the successes we've had over the last decade. We want to I'll go back one, sorry. We want to grow our nations from 28 to 35 plus. We want to train the workforce by providing them educational tools. We want an events calendar that inspires growth and helps us to build awareness. And that events calendar doesn't just have to be a continental championship. It can be a local festival or tournament that inspires growth and builds up awareness locally. I'll go on to that later. And we want to continue the strong global partnerships with Special Olympics and Virtus and the IPC to give our athletes a credibility. Just share with you the growth in nations. In Africa, the nations in black there, Egypt, Malawi, Uganda, Zambia, and great to see you online, Egypt. What a fabulous group you were in Berlin last year. Really lovely to see you online with us. We want to grow that 4 into 6, and the targets are Botswana, South Africa, Kenya, Morocco, and Zimbabwe. They're the target nations, and Floyd Chomba from Zambia will be helping us to deliver that project. In Asia, we've 2 active nations, Pakistan and Malaysia, and Pakistan were a joy again in Berlin last year. You can see their squad there celebrating their medal success. Malaysia are restarting their programs, as Marika shared earlier. But we want them to be joined by India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, and Singapore. Singapore and Malaysia, if we can do some local neighbor exchange there at low cost, that's the type of atmosphere we want to build up. Local, low-cost neighbor cooperation. Cross-border cooperation. Whoops. You see, in Europe, we have 12 active nations at the moment. Belgium, Bulgaria, only joined 1 year ago. Major success. Czech Republic, very new to the family. England, stroke Great Britain. France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, and a new kid on the block, Poland, who've got two groups going in Poznan and Gniezno in the last few months. So welcome Poland to the active family. Targets are Wales and Scotland with the help of England, Croatia, Gibraltar with the help of Spain, and Denmark, hopefully with the help of Germany. In Oceania, 6 active nations already. Jill and her team have done great work down there, and they target Fiji and Samoa joining us in the near future. A lot of their programs are linked to healthy lifestyles budgets. So budgets coming from the Department of Health, not the Department of Sport. And in Pan Am, because the MOU was very focused on Pan Am and North America, at the moment we've got 5 active nations, but we look to increase that by Brazil, Barbados, Peru, and Uruguay joining us. So you can see we've got very ambitious plans, but we can only achieve this with the help of the current nations and with somebody with passion in the new red nations actually making it happen with our support. It's people that make things happen. On the education, to help you deliver these programs, we're obviously aware that you need resources. So the EU Love is All project, which Gino Schilders will cover in greater detail later on, is a very important aspect of delivering resources that will be available globally to every nation across the world. It comprises 4 toolkits: a grassroots toolkit, a coaching and umpiring toolkit, which comprises 4 areas, an ID toolkit for events, from small events right up to major events, which Natasha is the leader of that toolkit, and a life skills toolkit. In terms of the coaching toolkit, I'll be linking with you after the event because I'm looking for nations who are keen to pilot and test out a couple of the resources that we've developed on a Hockey into Hockey workshop, which is a 2-hour workshop face-to-face, alongside some e-learning modules, and then a 1-day workshop, a 5-hour workshop, a foundation workshop, which is again face-to-face, but also linked with some online Special Olympics learning. So if your nation is keen to deliver 1 or 2 of those, let me know, because your feedback as to how it worked for you and what changes we need to make will be important for Gino and his team when we finalize the project come the end of this year. We're talking about inspiring growth and build awareness and our focus on growing. I honestly feel that massive events for a lot of continents will be too expensive to deliver. So our real focus is on Argentina twinning with Uruguay across the River Plate, on Zambia linking with Malawi and doing something low cost together, on Spain and Morocco sharing opportunities, Western Australia and Victoria, because of the size of Australia, coming together for a mini event over a day and a half. We've mentioned already Malaysia and Singapore. Clubs in Berlin helping the 2 Polish groups and inspiring them, because it can be lonely once you've started these programs. If there's no outcome, if there's no little festival at the end of it where your teams can play games against strangers, they can lose interest if you're not careful. They need something to inspire them to continue, something that's really, really special, but as low cost as possible. England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland to get together annually. Gibraltar, Portugal and Spain to help each other. And Bulgaria and Turkey and Croatia. I think Dimitri, I won't steal his thunder, has an opportunity in Albania in August that hopefully Turkey and Croatia can buy into. So that's our events calendar for this year. We're at the forum now, and you can see if you're European and Pan Am, then you're pretty well catered for in terms of an inspirational event that you can target. The Special Olympics Netherlands very kindly have invited 10 nations actually to come to Breda and Tilburg in June and join their national games. So the European family are very well catered for there. The Special Olympics Solar, Paraguay and Argentina and Chile are going to get together and run demo games during that tournament. So again, something to inspire their athletes and give them a training, an aim after training, that they're going to an event, that they're preparing for something. And Albania, I'll leave to Dimitri to mention, but there is an international offering there in Albania in August for people who wish to take it up. We want to develop a 4-year cycle, but we also want to make sure, because obviously budgets are under a lot of pressure, that it's a sustainable cycle. That's what it's looking like at the moment for the next 4 years. As I've mentioned, for the Europeans, they're lucky to have the Special Olympics National Games in Tilburg. Solar have their demonstration event. In 2025, there'll be a European Championship. Hopefully some continental activity will take place in 2025. Again, even if it's just cross-border, neighbour to neighbour, doesn't matter, provided we're giving something to inspire the athletes and their families to continue to commit to hockey. Big discussions going on about a side event alongside the regular World Championships in the Netherlands and Belgium in 2026. And we need to hear from you. Is that a good idea? Is it affordable for you to come all the way to Amsterdam and Antwerp and be part of that, to have the first FIH HockeyiD World Championships? And then we mentioned earlier, 2027 Special Olympics Games in Chile. So the questions, and I'll be chasing you after the forum, can the nation sustain such a program, or are we being too ambitious? Do we all buy into a concept of a continental championship over time? This is not just next year or the next 6 months, but a continental championship that actually is a qualifier for a world championship, just like the regular hockey deliver. Can we sustain events every 2 years? Is the idea of twinning festivals a good one? Is that something that you can deliver? And most important, so that we can shout about the successes that you have and the challenges that you have, please, can you try and have discussions and commit in September each year to the events that you want to deliver the following year? So for 2025, if you can let us know by end of September 2024 what your event calendar is looking like, we can advertise that for you and shout about it, and that gives other nations chance to get it as part of their budget planning. If you come on to us in January and say, oh, we want to stage an event in June, the budgets have already been allocated for that year by a lot of nations. It's too late for them. The Special Olympics World Games in Berlin, we can't go through this presentation without mentioning it was immense. And you can see on this slide the joy that it brought to the athletes at the event, but the experiences away from the event, television interviews, radio interviews, press interviews, when they got back home, experiences that these athletes would never have dreamed of 2 years ago. What we're delivering here is more than hockey, far bigger than hockey. We're delivering life skills through hockey. And a big thank you to our strong global partners. Marijke signed an MOU in 2022 with Special Olympics Europe, Eurasia, with a massive amount of work behind the scenes by Natasha. Thank you. And then Tayab, the FIH president, signed the MOU. Major event, because that made us a recognized Special Olympics sport. In the past, some doors were closed because they had floorball in the program and they didn't want field hockey. Now some doors will close because their staff isn't massive in some nations and they've got the pressures of already delivering 12 sports programs. So why do we want to add hockey to our programs? And we found that in several nations, but keep knocking on the door and slowly but surely the door will open. With our relationship with Special Olympics, the hockey rules are on their website, the tournament regulations are on their website, and various other procedures that we need for major events. And we're working on a unified hockey draft whereby regular players and ID players come together and play the sport. So if your nation can only find in one village 3 ID players, that's not an excuse for not to start. You put your coaches alongside them, you put regular players alongside them, and you let them play. They're our key. And let's remember that if we share both our challenges and our successes, as a family, we're unbeatable together. So thank you, thank you. None of this can happen without all the hard work you're doing locally. So this is all nice words on paper, but absolutely nothing is achievable without you rolling your sleeves up and delivering locally. And a big, big thank you for all of you who are doing that. That's all from me.
Norman, we have a question from Steve. I was thinking that we would give the floor to Steve and then because his question is quite relevant. Steve, bear with me a second. I'm going to make you a presenter, and then you ask your question. Here we go. Make a presenter. Okay, so Steve, you're now a presenter. You can turn in your camera and your microphone, and you can ask your question.
No worries. Excuse me. Morning, all. Norman, I did put a question in the chat, just how Virtus fit into this, because it, I suppose, will be their larger event, their World Games event in 2027 as well. So obviously, I know that's that sort of real top end. It traditionally has been. So just how they fit into the planning with this, because obviously it's just another. Not another competition in that sense, but another opportunity, but one that unfortunately falls kind of pretty much within a few months of the Santiago or Chile Special Olympics.
Yeah, we're in conversations with Virtus regularly because their chief exec is just down the road from me in England. And basically, we want to keep them as an important partner because they are very closely linked with the International Paralympic Committee group. So they are an important partner, but I've had strong discussions with them that unless they start talks with Special Olympics and ensure that big clashes like 2027 don't happen, then they're creating a real problem for our member nations because we cannot afford two major tournaments like that in 1 year. It makes it really stresses and strain our volunteer workforce and our budgets. So that's ongoing. If you wanted an answer from me now, Steve, our priority at this stage would be to support Special Olympics events above Virtus events. But in an ideal world, and as our development of HockeyID continues over the next decade, hopefully we can sustain both events from both offerings. But those two parties, Special Olympics and Virtus, do need to talk more to make sure that there are no clashes, because we're all working with the same athletes, really. Some nations are lucky and they can split their really top level athletes off from their developing emerging athletes, but some nations haven't got that number. So it's the same people that we're targeting, and it's putting too much strain on them. I hope that answers your question, Steve.
Yeah, just the clash with support staff, the finance. It's a wonderful. All these tournaments just seem like an amazing opportunity, but if they were spread out, then it would be an even better opportunity. So you're doing amazing work, Norman, and it's just
totally agree. And Marika said earlier, the stress and strain that we put our leaders, our coaches, management team, none of you had taken your groups away for 10 days before. The maximum we'd expected was 3 or 4 days. So we're absolutely, in awe of all you did for your teams in Berlin. And we certainly don't want to burn out and overload you.
Thank you very much.
Any more questions, Andre, or shall we go on to Floyd to give his presentation?
Yeah, I suggest we move on to Floyd. I think, sorry, Norman, a gentleman from Saudi Arabia has put his hand high. There doesn't seem to be a question. Oh, wait a minute. No, there's no hand high anymore. I suggest we move on and then we group all the questions at the end.
Okay, Floyd, would you like to give your presentation on behalf of Zambia and Africa?
I'm afraid I don't think Floyd is in the meeting. So I suggest we move on to the next presentation and then we chase Floyd in the meantime. Okay.
Is Dr. Sivanesan on the line from Asia, the Deputy President of Special Olympics Malaysia?
I saw Imdad, so I think he is, but at least he's.
If not, we chase.
Yeah, he's here. He's one of the presenters. But could I ask the representative of Special Olympics Malaysia to turn their camera on? and the microphone. I suggest you let me take care of that in the backstage, and then you move on to the next presentation.
Sue, that's you from Ireland. Sue's the
Hi.
Hi,
I
Sue.
am here, yes. Do you want to put the presentation up, Andre, or would you like me to do that?
Yeah, I
Would
can
you-
do that. No
Thank
worries. Absolutely no worries.
So yeah, I'll just start by saying thank you so much for inviting me to do this. I feel very privileged to be asked to present. So yeah, my name is Sue Haslam and I work for Hockey Ireland, and I look after the participation and coach education and umpire education and volunteering within the sport in Ireland. So yes, I thought I would maybe start by showing you the journey from where we came from to where we are now. Just hopefully it might be helpful to some of you nations who are just starting out on your path, or who are thinking of starting up HockeyID in your nation. So in 2010, we set up a volunteer working group that sits under our structure in Hockey Ireland to look after inclusion. And for the first couple of years, they worked on creating policies and making sure our procedures and policies were up to date to kind of support a HockeyID program. And it took a few years to find the right place to pilot our first club program, and that was in 2013. And I was very privileged to be part of the first session that happened. It was all very exciting, and there were a lot of nerves as well from the coaches on that first session, but it went really well, and we piloted for a few weeks and months, and it was a great success, and we learned so much from doing it. And then where things really took off for us and lots of clubs joined the programme was when in 2018, Three Rock Rovers started their Hockey for All programme, their HockeyID programme in their club. Three Rock Rovers is one of the most established, biggest clubs in Ireland. And much to kind of what Norman said earlier, we just had a few people who really were passionate for inclusivity within the club and pushed that programme forward. And what happened from there, I suppose, was other clubs thought, oh, Three Rock Rovers are doing that. We'd like to try that. And one of the things that really actually helped was they host a lot of cup finals and league finals in Three Rock Rovers. And those kind of demonstration sessions that they did maybe before a cup final or at half time really helped the crowd see, oh, wow, this is really amazing, really positive, the smiles in all the kids' faces. And I suppose what it has added to that club what was just so evident in what they saw on the pitch, that it inspired them to set up their own club, HockeyID sections within their club. And again, speaking to what Norman mentioned earlier, having that representative team really helped us with focusing us in on on driving forward the HockeyID initiative within Ireland. And again, giving the athletes the opportunity to go and compete and have a fantastic time at those European Championships. That's just, money can't buy that. It just was absolutely fantastic, and really helped us push the programme on. We then went on to host a tournament. I actually wasn't involved with that. I think I was on maternity leave at the time, but it was in the 12 months of the year. So in 2021, it was the most popular social media post in the whole of Hockey Ireland social media. So that just shows really how it engages your audience, and is just something that people love to hear about and love to be involved with. Where we are now is that we have 12 established clubs up and running in Ireland, and we do have a few more that we would like to come on board. For us, the main goal in the next couple of years is to continue growing the grassroots game, to help put structures in for our representative teams. But the Special Olympics piece to us is really important. At the moment, we're one of those nations that Special Olympics Ireland don't have much of an interest in us at the moment, because, as Norman said, they're quite saturated with the number of sports that they have. So for me, that's really where we would love to get to, is to be recognised within Ireland on that Special Olympics programme. Okay, so I suppose I thought it might be helpful from our learning over the long period of time that it has taken to start HockeyID to where we are now. The key things that we have found that have helped us, that might help your nations as well. So the first thing is partnerships. Norman and the FIH have been a huge support to us through our journey, as well as Euro Hockey. We do have very good local government sport sections that help support us in the regions that we're setting up para hockey. So I don't know what support you might have in your nations, but that has been really, really helpful to us. Then, as Norma mentioned earlier, the athlete opportunities to compete and have those really memorable experiences are just vital. And whether that be playing another team down the road, or that be playing in a big tournament, that it doesn't really matter sometimes to the kids. They just want to play and have those experiences to look forward to. So those are really important. We have been very fortunate in Ireland to have access to funding. So it does open up, as you mentioned earlier, for in Australia, the healthy lifestyle funding. It opens up lots of different funding pots within certain countries. So that's very helpful. One of the most important things is the education piece, which is great to hear that the FIH are planning on supporting that further. Because one of the things you hear when you say to clubs, oh, do you want to start up HockeyID? They say, oh, the coaches are a bit afraid. And to remove that barrier, education is the way forward. And another tool that we use in Ireland is our Young Leader programme. So our young leaders are trained in the clubs that are running HockeyID, and they are fantastic with the children and adults involved in the program, because they just really are receptive to the changes. So the young leaders is a great way of supporting the programs. And at the heart of all of this is the people. As Norman said, people make things happen, and it's finding the right people to get involved in the program, and also having the HockeyID athletes at the centre of everything that you do. So I just want to finish by showing a short video. Hopefully this will work. It may not. But let's see, I'll try and play it. So Matthew was in Norman's presentation earlier. He was one of our HockeyID athletes many years ago now, and Matthew is now coaching at one of our clubs that has just started HockeyID. So I asked this club to just send a little video of their session. So it's very amateur. I edited it, so it's probably not great, but I hope it gives you a bit of a sense as to what goes on in a normal HockeyID session in Ireland. So hopefully it plays.
Sorry, can you listen? Can you hear it?
No, I
No.
worried that this would happen. Yeah.
No worries, no worries. Let's try again. Okay.
My name is Matthew Burke. I'm one of the coaches in Avoca. I've been playing hockey for about 5 years. I first played in Tree-Rock with some of my friends from my school in St. Augustine's. And that year we went to Amsterdam in 2017 and we had a ball. It was super. And I heard about Avoca through they were starting up a special needs team there. So I said, why not? And it was super. Really enjoyed it. And I'm looking to do the fundamental course afterwards.
Andre, if you just want to pause it there, I don't think the video is playing, which is okay. We can maybe send the presentation after. But hopefully you heard there. So Matthew was a player. Now he's coaching in the sessions and he wants to do one of our mainstream coaching courses. And I suppose this is really the power of sport. You know, it really has impacted his life and all of the lives of the kids. And there was a little more in the video, but you can hopefully see that at a later stage, and hopefully it'll inspire everyone to just give it a go, because it really is the most positive program that you can get involved with, and just seeing the smiles of on all of the athletes and coaches' faces and parents' faces as well is just makes it all worth it. So that's all from me. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
Sue, a big thank you. Absolutely great growth from one club to 12 clubs and targeting another 3 or 4. That's really fantastic growth, and it just shows how passion in one club can spread to other clubs or towns. You just need one base to start, and other people get maybe a little bit jealous. Oh, they've started, why can't we start? Or a parent finds out that one town's doing it, so why isn't my town doing it? And suddenly it all starts to mushroom. But you're delivering real inclusion to not limit these athletes, to offer them coaching opportunities and umpiring opportunities, and helping them manage events. It's fabulous to see how it's mushroomed in Ireland over a very short period. Natasha and I will help you with Special Olympics Ireland. We'll be tapping on their windows and doors for you.
Thank you, Norman.
Any questions?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, carry on.
Sorry, any questions for Sue, team? No? Okay, Andre, do we have either Floyd or Doctor in?
Yes, we have. Oh, sorry, he was just there. Wait a minute. I think he was just here, and now I was. Okay, he's not here anymore. Wait a minute. Let's see if he joined again. No, he was just here, but he left. So I would suggest
I'm going to move on to Laura from the USA.
Okay, wait a minute. Doctor says he's there. Okay, I found him. Okay, just bear with me. Okay, Dr. Sivanezan, if you can turn on your camera, it should be okay now. You should be able to turn your camera on and your microphone on. Yes, you are there. Perfect.
Wonderful.
Okay, just bear with me. Okay, perfect. Just okay, while I tick some boxes. Wonderful. So we'll now. Wonderful. You're. We can hear you. we can see you. So we're now going to put your presentation.
Okay, first of all, good evening to Mr. Norman and all the members from FIH. I'm very happy to be together with you today. So we will do a short presentation of the development of hockey in Malaysia. Okay, I'm waiting for the presentation. Okay.
Just bear with me while I put this on full screen. Can anyone see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you can carry on.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I'm the Deputy President of Special Olympic Malaysia, and indeed we were very happy and proud to have the first ID tournament in Berlin. Unfortunately, we were not given quota to take part in ID hockey, whereas we took part in 6 other games. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, I think there's 2 layers. There's a calendar.
We can see a calendar
presentation.
Sorry, just bear one moment, please. So, wait a minute. Does it show mission, vision, and mission?
No.
No, it's gone to your calendar, Andre. That's better.
It's gone to my calendar. Okay,
Yeah,
just bear with me then.
With several screens.
Yeah, I think just bear with me a little bit, please. Okay, let's try this now. What do you see now?
Calendar.
Calendar.
Fantastic. That's all I needed. A technical glitch from the side of the present of the organizer. That is brilliant. Okay, Windows. How about now?
Yes, good.
Sorry, guys. Carry on.
Yes. Okay. Okay, this is the vision of Special Olympic Malaysia. We are here to inspire and motivate ID hockey athletes in Malaysia to achieve excellence. And our mission is to participate in the Special Olympic World Games. The first task will be our national games. We are planning to have national games by July 2025. There'll be the national games. We already started to have state games, and we already have about 6 states already participating in ID hockey. The next one, please. Okay, these are the issues that we are facing. We have athletes from private school, and very common that they have a lot of red tapes in private schools. And then we have government schools. So our athletes are mainly from private school and also government school. And government school have got their own guidelines. So we have all these hindrances, which is avoiding us to have a wonderful session with our athletes. And most of the parents are very scared about ID hockey. When you talk about hockey, they think that it's a very rough game. So the parents are overprotective of their child. So these are the issues that we are facing at the moment. And we also are having lack of funds to provide proper sports attire and equipment, to book facilities, because most of our facilities need to be booked and need to be paid, especially the turf, and to provide accommodation, transportation, and meals during training. So we would say that lack of fund is also another main problem for the development of ID hockey in Malaysia. Others, we have lack of sponsors and also lack of volunteers. So we find it difficult because most of the volunteers are from universities. So they'll be there for 2-3 years. So once they graduate, it is difficult for us to get another group of volunteers. Next. Okay, this is the planning that we have done for 2024 to conduct ID hockey workshop which was done in 16 until 17 February 2024, is already done. Next, to identify schools, what we are planning is we want to identify schools as a place where they will make hockey as their main game in the school. So we are identifying a few schools. We are to train students at schools. So government schools, we have no issues because they have all the facilities. But for private schools, this is the issue that we need to give them a lot of equipment and etc. We need to select players for interstate competition, which we schedule to have it one end of this year, and the Special Olympic National Games will be next year. To form a ID hockey team in all states of Malaysia. At the moment, we have only engaged about 6 states, where we have 14 states in Malaysia. So we have a big task to go. We have 8 states to convince more to collaborate within Ministry of Education, because you see now most of our athletes are coming from schools. So we need to do engagement with Ministry of Education. Next is to appoint a coordinator and coach for ID hockey. And the other one is to include ID hockey in national games. So this is also another task to include ID hockey at national level, because at the moment ID hockey is not our priority. We have other games, but hockey is not in our agenda. So we have to convince the National Special Olympic that ID hockey should be included in the national games. Next one. As I mentioned earlier, so we have done the ID hockey training earlier, which was scheduled on 16 and 17 February. So these are some of the photos from the seminar that we have in workshop we have done 16 and 17 February. Next. And we had it was wonderful to have a video conference session with Mr. Norman. Thank you, Mr. Norman, for your cooperation. Indeed, it was a wonderful session. Most of us enjoyed, and to get a few info, which is very important info about FIH, that was very good. And we'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you, especially the Asian Hockey Federation, who was willing to provide us with some equipment. So with that equipment, I think we can develop further, and ID hockey will be a successful chapter in Malaysia. Okay, thanks. Next, please. So these are the training sessions that we have done. We have done theory and also practical. Practical was done in a government school. Next one. Okay, this was the certification that was awarded by the Special Olympic President, Mr. Bong Koi Sin. Unfortunately, he was not able to attend today. The next one, please. So on behalf of Special Olympic Malaysia, we extend our heartfelt gratitude and appreciate the President of FIH, Asian Hockey Federation, AHF, Mr. Norman Hughes, FIH HockeyiD Project Lead, Mr. Imdad Ali, HockeyiD SRT of Asia. And simply, I would just like to emphasize that our main goal is to take part in Special Olympic World Games in 2027. I hope that things are going on very well, and I'm very sure that we will be taking part in the World Games in 2027. Okay, with that, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Doctor, and really fabulous. Malaysia started programs before the pandemic, and now to see such detailed plans in all of the states and to try and push to have it in the national games in 2025. We're here to help. So if we need to knock on any doors and help you in any way, please make contact with us. We would love to have Malaysia in Chile in 2027. That would be inspirational.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Norman.
Any questions, please? You can see the challenges: funding, equipment, the challenges of are we a safe sport in the eyes of parents? All challenges that you will face across the globe. So let's keep sharing and working out how we overcome these challenges.
Norman, since we are in Asia, we have a question from Saudi Arabia. I suggest we let's give them the floor.
Yes, go ahead. Welcome, Saudi Arabia. Great to have you with us.
Okay. Abdullah, you are now a presenter. You can turn on your microphone and you can turn on your camera. Mr. Abdullah, I can see you're still muted. I'm not sure if you're hearing us,
Bad
but if
connection.
you are, yeah, maybe back connection. So I suggest we move to the next person, and then we leave Mr. Abdullah as a presenter. Then when he is ready, we will give him the floor.
Okay. So if I could ask Laura from USA Field Hockey to give us an update on their experiences with HockyID so far.
Super.
Welcome,
Thank
Laura.
you, Mohammed. So hello, everyone, and thank you so much for inviting us to this forum. We're really excited to be here. We're relatively new in this space of HockyID, I think, in comparison to some other nations. And hopefully what I can focus on is what it looks like to be new in that space. Is the presentation available?
Yes, it is. I will now share. Hopefully this time I will not show my calendar. So here we go.
Awesome. Thank you.
Wonderful.
So in the United States, we've called our program All Stars Field Hockey. And All Stars Field Hockey is about 3 years old for us as a program. We started, I think, in a typically American model where we didn't do a lot of planning. It's kind of the American way, just go out there and do it. It's actually a very successful model for us. And I know we frustrate a lot of people with that model, but it's kind of our way. So we did 3 years ago. We just went out and did it and hosted an event and found people who were wanting this program. And then after that came back and looked at what were the lessons that we learned, what went right, what went wrong, and then made quick adjustments based on that. So this year represents just this past weekend. So just a couple of days ago, I'm still recovering myself from the event because it was quite something. Our second annual showcase event for HockyID athletes. And next slide, please. The HockyID showcase event has 3 divisions. We found that we needed to focus on one thing at a time. That was one of our lessons learned. Let's create success in one space before we try to move into more spaces. So we've divided our program into something called Little All-Stars, which is a roughly U9, U10 program. We also pull down athletes who have higher support needs on the field into that program so that the competition field is more equitable for all of the athletes in that space. I would say that the majority of athletes on the field in that program have someone who's either hand over hand or parallel to them with their play. They need that level of support. Then we have a 10 and up adaptive program. This is where we range, I would say, from age 10 to right now, age 35. We were a little bit nervous about the breadth of athlete in that space. But so far, I have to say, looking at it again this weekend, it was actually a really appropriate mix. And some of our better athletes were the younger athletes, certainly the more energetic of the group. So that age group worked really well for us. And that social space had a mix of adaptive needs that included people on the field as a partner player, in some cases hand over hand, but not too much. And we also had a mix of disabilities, which was very interesting for us to see. We included athletes with wheelchairs and made some adaptive equipment on the chair. And one of the most impressive things for us this past weekend was to see for our wheelchair athletes who had very limited mobility, but high mental engagement with the competition, when the ball would move to them, the field would naturally move away and allow the athlete with aid the opportunity to play the ball with some success. And that was really, really important for the athlete. And when they had that success, the teams on both sides were celebrating that moment for the athlete. So big takeaway for us in the social play, that was possible, and a milestone for the athlete themselves. And then our third division is competitive all-stars. Those are U10 and above who are working very hard on not only their playing skills, but set plays. So we were really shocked that our team showed up ready to run corners, which we actually didn't do because we weren't prepared for that. But they wanted to run full play on a half field with set plays included. They had practiced these skills. We had one athlete who had a reverse that we're really glad we had go balls in play, because they had a reverse that was shocking. Interesting note, kind of as a part of our celebration, we invited some of our Olympians from previous years to come and talk with the athletes and be a part of the games. And a comment that we heard quite a bit at the competitive level was that the hockey skills that these teams had achieved were remarkable, that people were getting back on defense, that they were taking the time to get their feet around before they executed a skill, and the pride of accomplishment for those teams was critically important for them, and I think for the space that they're going to inhabit as athletes. Excuse me, when we look at our growth plans and where we're headed. So all in all, I think it was really, really successful. We have a second program that's just coming off, which is our Unified HockeyiD. That will be a space that we support, but are not inhabiting as owning the games. We own HockeyiD. All of our departments, all of our people are invested in the HockeyiD components. When it comes to exclusive HockeyiD teams, this is not the case in the unified space. Traditionally here, unified hockey belongs to schools. So we support those programs only and give them curriculum, guidance, help them with equipment, train umpires or coaches if necessary. But then we stand back and let that happen in the space that they have. Okay, and we can go to the next slide. So the things that we saw this weekend, again, we're only in our third year, so we're really trying to focus as we would on any other development of taking the lessons away from our events and planning where we go next. We served 62 athletes this weekend, which was a significant jump from where we've been. We were really pleased with that. We played 20-minute games. We allowed it for this competition that the coaches from the individual teams set the format, made the decisions about whether or not we were going to have a break and how the rules were going to be applied. We had gentle umpiring. So our umpires were instructed that they should go with the flow. And that was a really uncomfortable space that we asked them to inhabit. And we recognized that. Our director of umpiring, Sean Rappaport, made a point of attending this event himself and providing guidance to the umpires and reassurance that the expectation was that they learned and that they allowed play to move with the goal being game progression, play progression, not strict adherence to rules. So it was very interesting. We saw a lot of rigidity in the umpiring crew when they started. I think a lot of discomfort. I think if you're unfamiliar with people with disabilities, you can be afraid to do the wrong thing, say the wrong thing. But our athletes really saved them, and we're having such joy in playing that very quickly the umpires got into a rhythm of understanding our teams really didn't care about sidelines. Those were non-negotiable continue the play events for them. End lines, however, were very important to them. So they made this really quick adjustment and I think did a really, really good job. And by the end, I'm not sure who was smiling more, the umpires or the athletes, which was really important for our future success. In terms of adaptations, we used Go balls. Thank you to the UK for that wonderful ball, because it's used all over the place now. And we used bell balls. We had a blind athlete that we wanted to accommodate, so we're experimenting with ways to allow play for anyone. That I would say was marginally successful. It allowed the player some competition, but we don't think full competition, full participation. So we're going to be, I think, reaching out to as many organizations as we can find. And if anyone here has any adaptive ideas, things you've done, things you've tried, we're very interested in learning about them. In fact, we would love to see some kind of a repository for adaptive pieces that people can share globally, because I think we really struggle with finding the right tools for success, especially for, I think, somebody who's blind trying to play the game. It's a real challenge. We thought very important, we had 2 teams who traveled and had to stay in hotels with their athletes, had team dinners, really had to manage the piece of what does it look like to pick up and move for an event. Those life skill moments were as valuable as the athletic moments. We went very far to try and accommodate that particular experience. When do we schedule games? How much time are they spending? Were there challenges? We haven't broken all that down yet with the coaches, but it was really important. One of the things we noticed were the parents who were there to watch the event had this pride of moment with their child, that for many of them who came to us afterwards said, this is a first time that we get to go and have this athletic experience with our child who has challenges. We get it all the time for our other children, but for this child, it's the first time they're the family focus of an athletic endeavor. And that was really cool, because the event ran next to our national indoor tournament. So we had some athletes there for the national indoor tournament, and then coming over to support a sibling who was playing in the All-Stars event. So there was some equity there for the sibling, which was, I think, really, really important. We did make a change this year. We moved from playing on a sport court to artificial turf indoors. This was a big change. We had a lot of discussions surrounding this. What we learned was that the ability to slow the ball down increases the opportunity for good ball contact by the players and better ball control, which was the goal. And that was a decision I think we're sticking with, unless there's an international reason to make a change. Everyone agreed that was maybe the best decision we made. and people were really happy with it. So that the takeaways for us are that, you know, we're at least making the right decision in terms of age groups and skill division. We want to continue that with Little All-Stars and then social and competitive All-Stars. We recognize we need to create education for our umpire group, and since FIH is also taking that on, we'll probably end up deferring to whatever that education piece looks like there, although I'm sure our head of umpiring will want to have some input, because I think he learned a lot at our event. We also found that we needed to have more than one event a year, that this is so important. I think Norman mentioned it in the beginning. The opportunity to work towards something was critically important for all of our teams. We heard this from every coach and from almost every parent, that going to nationals, as they called it, was a capstone event for a season of really hard work put in by the athletes and the coaches. We are going to also have off-the-shelf programming to push programs out nationwide that allows a club or a multi-sport organization or a disability-focused athletic organization to pull down curriculum and say, this is how we can go forward, and we can participate through a USA field hockey vehicle in this space. So interestingly, this event included a ABLE hockey or ABLE athletics, which is strictly disability athletics in the United States. They do nothing else. Long Island All-Stars, which is a club that only does field hockey and only does disability field hockey. And then a club called PA Revs, which is a traditional, for us, field hockey club that added disability hockey or HockeyiD as one of their multiple teams in hockey. So we touched each market segment that we hope to expand, and was very successful. So next slide, please. So I thought you've heard enough of me. I want to show you the success that we had this weekend. You can see the athletes in gray and black. And next slide, please. So this is some of the hand-over-hand success we had with Little All-Stars. Our goalies don't wear helmets for sensory reasons, but they had a great experience of both success and failure, and managed both accordingly with great joy and great tears, and both were really important in development. Next slide, please. We followed the model of medals and certificates for all participants. It's interesting to note that the athletes wanted to have scorekeeping in terms of the equipment, but they didn't want us to keep score. So we actually had score books that were visible and nobody touched them, but they wanted to have them there. So kind of an interesting note for us. Next slide, please. And the key for us was pride of accomplishment. So for almost every athlete we saw, they were so proud of what they accomplished at this event, and looking at the benches and looking at their parents and coaches when they had their medals and certificates made everything we did more than worth it. I think we definitely won the event, including against our indoor event, as the happiest moment of the weekend. And we noted that a great deal of our staff found their way over to our event and enjoyed it just as much. So we have a lot of support coming from within USA Field Hockey that I think is going to be key for our growth metrics in the next stage. Next slide, please. So From here, we've defined where we're going on a national basis. The most important thing we've learned is that we need to get aligned with Special Olympics. I think there's a lot of common experience here with Ireland. We're having a difficult time getting aligned into Special Olympics. We're trying to leverage a lot of different relationships to find a way in. So Norman needs some help. We have decided as an organization that because of this group and everyone here who is also pushing for this event, it's really important that we follow the strategy of FIH and the leadership group so that we can support not only what we want to accomplish in the US, but also what the rest of the world and Pan Am wants to accomplish for the program. The next step for us is really to create documented offerings, to offer coach training. That was another big takeaway for us, that the trainings necessary for our coaches are really no different than what we would offer for typically developing teams. We need player-centered focus, and we need appropriate age and stage development metrics for coach education. So hopefully this next year becomes one where we get a lot of these things in place and we can support growth across our country. And our goals are, I think, the same as everyone else's here. You know, we would like to be able to field teams that can look to participate in international events. Certainly, we're hearing from the teams, this is what they would like to do.
Great work, Laura. Any questions for Laura? Laura, we too, my club, we failed a blind girl. We just couldn't offer the right fun experience, so we ended up having to direct her to bocce and goalball, you know, the blind football. We failed her basically. So if anybody online has got any ideas as to how to really actively engage the blind community, that would be very worthwhile knowing. But great to see the adaptive equipment that you used. And again, another example of how an event inspires activity. It gives an outcome for all the training that the coaches do back home, and the, you know, gives a purpose for the players to keep turning up and the parents to keep supporting them. Steve, I can contact you via iPlayers. So Steve from the UK may be able to give some advice, Laura, there. We'll put you two in contact.
Thank you.
Andre, I'm conscious of time, so can we quickly load up the Paraguay and I'll go through that quickly.
I think Gino has to leave earlier.
Okay.
So we could bring Gino in, and then we'll go to Paraguay. Gino, you're on.
Yeah, if you can put the presentation on. I'll be short, Norman, so to leave space for the other ones as well. No worry. Wait for the presentation to come on. First of all, yeah, thank you for all the passion and the collaboration. If this kind of cooperation between the nations and the way how we do it would work in normal hockey, we would be a lot further. So big compliment for everybody and all the energy you put in there. I would like to give a short update on the LIA program. It's called Love Is All. It's from a song which some of you might know, which we're using. And if you can go to the next slide, I will just share a short update. Norman this morning already spoke about these 4 toolkit parts, the blocks. So he spoke a little bit more about the coach development program. The aim is to open all the drawers and all the know-how which you guys have in your head and put that all together in a comprehensive program and to make it accessible, because there's so much existing. Of course, there are differences in the countries, but the basics are very much the same. And also what Sue told and what I also hear now, there's a need for education. A lot of things are there, but what we're trying to do with the program is to put all these things in a very nice, simple way together, easy, accessible. And for somebody who wants to start with HockeyID, it could be the first point of contact where to start, because you can find there the basics of how to start, which equipment to use, which are the rules, some e-learning, contacts. So that is the idea of this project. And in short, it has 4 parts. So it's a grassroots model. So it's really about, I'm a hockey player. I also didn't know anything about HockeyID. So this is just in short, taking you through what it means to be with HockeyID players on the pitch. The coach development program is about coach education on different levels, like Norman mentioned. The event manual is about, okay, I want to have a game of 2 teams together, or maybe I want to join in another country. So how do I set up a small tournament or a small exchange program? So there are some checklists. So we have Natasha working on that one. And then we have the life skills program, where also Sue, for example, is showing a nice example of Matthew, a player who was playing is now becoming a coach. We have players becoming umpires, feeling more comfortable in life. So the life skill program is about we're training hockey, but at the same time, we're also teaching them skills which they can apply in life to feel more comfortable. It's a European funded program, but of course we are a world hockey family. So everything what we will create will be shared with all of you. It will be accessible on the FIH platforms in a very accessible, simple way to make it easy for everybody. Next slide, please. The timing, it will be in parts. So Norman mentioned you also saw some different parts, but in October, we would like already to have the basic stuff on the web. So it will be accessible there. You don't have to click 20 times, as Norman said. Now it's a little bit, so that's my challenge to Andre here in this one, to have it on easy, accessible, 1-2 clicks, and we're there. We can get all the information. That would be great. And one area where we would like to Norman ask feedback also about the coaching. If you can go to the next slide. Here we can see 2 links on the next slide. One is, this is for the life skills. So we have a manual draft ready. It's not perfect yet, but there are some exercises. There are some tips and tricks on what to do. So whoever in this forum would like to give it a try, you don't have to do all the exercises, but if you want to try some things with your teams or share it with your coaches until the end of March, there is a possibility to give feedback. So this is one of the manuals. And we will be happy if some of you could test some of the parts and via the feedback form, it's a simple Google form, give feedback on what worked well, what didn't work well, and also your experience or what you would suggest to add. So very welcome for your feedback as well. So that was it from my side, a short update, and looking forward to work with you on all the areas and to give this a nice central place in our education system from the FIH. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gino. That resource will be invaluable for nations already started and also new nations considering start. So that'll be a big, important resource for everybody to use come October this year. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to move straight on to the Paraguay presentation, please, Andre.
Just bear with me while I load that.
This is a short message from Vicky, who was the head coach of the Paraguay team. Vicky can't be with us because she's in class at the moment, but she wanted us to know the journey that they've been on in Paraguay.
Bear with me. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so HockeyID in Paraguay. Next one, please. They only started 6 months prior to the World Games. So they only started in January 2023 with athletes that hadn't a clue about hockey, had to learn everything, the technique, the rules, all of that from the beginning. But they trained 3 times a week, 1 day on balance, speed, physical fitness, and the other 2 on technique and tactics. And once they were in Berlin, they were delighted with their team's performance. They ended up 4th in their group, and it was the first time the team had competed in a tournament. So a massive challenge for them to come all the way to Berlin with a team that hadn't picked a hockey stick up 6 months earlier, and to absolutely enjoy themselves and deliver. And their Barmy Army, their support group, was immense, absolutely immense, the Paraguay support group. Next, please. In Berlin, they had the chance to meet Chile and share experiences, get to know each other and have chats about how they did things in their nation. Next, please. And they're currently working to prepare their squad for the Special Olympics Latin America Games, which take place in Paraguay in October. Training twice a week, going on to 3 times a week next month. Quite intensive, eh? I think a lot of us only get together once a week, but they're training twice, sometimes 3 times a week. And although they've got some challenges, getting new people to try the sport, they're very excited about the future. Next, please. And they're looking forward to seeing all the family soon in the next competition and certainly in the next World Games in 2027. So a new nation who in a year has really kick-started programs in their country. So well done, Paraguay, and it was an absolute delight to have you with us in Berlin. I'm going to ask now, please, if I may, Dimitri, to give us a best practice example of how Bulgaria have developed their programs over the last year.
Hello, Norman. Hello, everybody. I hope the connection is stable because we are having some issues. You have my presentation. Just to introduce myself, I'm a new development and project manager for the Bulgarian Hockey Federation. It's including HockeyID. It's fully part of our development. You'll see it's both ways and parallel development. We'll see which one is leading, which one is helping the other one, but we had a wonderful story in the last year and a half. So it's a success story that I'm going to tell you. Sorry for the R. It's really from scratch. We didn't have almost anything for Paralympic hockey in Bulgaria or HockeyID. When it started to join the team in Bulgaria, with our director, Antonio Antonov, he was telling me, we are looking for players, we are looking for a team, we need to have a team in Berlin, but we were really nowhere. But we managed. I'm going to tell you this wonderful success story. We can go to the next slide. And just to explain you, the official partner of the development of HockeyID in Bulgaria is the Social Olympic Bulgaria. But we are a partner with them and we are developing it on the field. That's why the federation was involved and it's part of the success that I'm going to explain after. So basically during 20 years, the federation tried some initiatives, but we didn't manage to go so far with para hockey or HockeyID, some local initiatives with some athletes. That was all. That was with at least it was all. Then the big kick, and thank you, and Gino, was really this program, Erasmus program, Love is All, developing HockeyID in different nations, including Bulgaria. It changed everything. Thanks, Gino, Norman, to include Bulgaria in this development. You see, it had a wonderful, amazing impact. So we were nowhere 1.5 years ago. We'll go back to the presentation. But basically, we didn't have any club. We didn't have really players. And in the end of October 2022, thanks to our director, he started to work, and it's also part of the success, started to work with the regional center, working with teenagers with intellectual disabilities. That was for us the start of a very successful story, because you see this picture is one of the first picture. In a few weeks, our director, with the help of Special Olympic Bulgaria, started to have a group of nearly 20 players from this center in the second biggest city of the country, starting to discover sports, for most of them, sports and field hockey. We found 2 motivated players coming from football, so also discovering field hockey and special sport with adaptation. Of course, they were a bit scared, but very fast they managed to make a group, a winning group, and the players were happy to come. This center is working with different tools, of course, sensitives, motricity, but I can say now that probably the field hockey and this HockyiD was the best tool this center experience now with the players, because they managed to improve very much their skills. We can go to the next slide. So from a medical experience, we started to be a very successful experience. So I said we have 2 and that's very important, motivated trainers, Dimitar and Georgi, coming from another field. They decided to dedicate a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of love to this team in Bulgaria, and to train a few times per week in a center that we found, with some sponsors also starting to help step by step. And from afraid to be next to a ball or a stick, they started really to play, which was the first big achievement. We are thinking also UK for the goal balls, very useful. We try to use our best trainers, best equipment possible. We dedicate all our energy, and we can go to the next slide. So our best trainers are traveling every week. Our director, also me, as a mainly volunteer when I can, for them. And the magic happened. In few months of training, we went to the games, the World Games. At the beginning, we were not sure we would have a team. We were nowhere. We were really from scratch, starting to develop HockyiD, and we were there. But better to be there. It's already good to be there and to participate, no doubts. But they surprised us. They surprised us by beating all the big nations, which is for Bulgaria a big surprise. We don't usually win against Pakistan or Germany. It's never happening. I mean, I hope it will be happening in 10 years, maybe. But now they are showing the way. They managed to have amazing success that we couldn't believe. We couldn't believe as a country. We couldn't believe as a sport. So really, they made us very proud. They made it to the final. They got the silver medal. So for us, was unbelievable. They went as like an experiment, like athletes, but no more. And they came back as champions. I was there at the airport to welcome them with the Special Olympic Committee and some ministers, some medias. They were like coming back from Berlin as heroes. They were so proud. Their life changed fully. So of course it's a big success, but on top that their life changed, they changed also the life of the Bulgarian Hockey Federation. I'm going to explain you that and why we managed to have such a successful story. So first, on the next slide. By the way, there was a poster that you saw on the previous slide. This poster with the Special Olympic teams was everywhere, in the metro stations, in the bus station in the country. And it was a big also achievement. You see in the corner, on the right corner, it was all our special teams in Berlin. And it was really everywhere in the city. People could make a picture and post it on social media. So it started to make really a big effect on the population. So yes, next slide, sorry. So as I said, less than 1.5 years ago, we were nowhere. It wasn't existing, basically. The last forum, I was saying that we were really at the beginning. And we managed in a bit more than 1 year to be on top, to be in the funnel, to be known. How? That's what I'm going to explain. Norman asked me to present this slide today to try to give us our, we think, tools to reach this success in other countries. Because if we manage to do it in Bulgaria in 1 year and a half, you can do it in other countries. We don't have budgets, we don't have players, we don't have clubs, we don't have interests from public and even, I would say, the government, because it was fully new. We were nowhere. But with a few teams and the help first of this LIA project, it's possible. It's possible with the right person like Norman, Mr. HockeyID, with documents for education, for trainers. It's possible to make it happen. So thanks so much for this project, Leah and Gino. Gino helping us and giving all the tools, all the information possible to start HockeyID in your country. It was a great start, a kick for us. So thanks so much for the impulse and the expertise. That's very important. The expertise of the team, like Norman, to share how to do it, how to start with some players, how to start a club, how to start event with Natasha. So this is a big part of this success. They were in Sofia last week, you saw, sharing, and we had a lot of people from the University for Sports, from political governments, from students, from our best coaches, from other federations. So it's starting really to attract a lot of attention. Next slide, please. And of course, probably our director from Special Olympics Bulgaria is watching and following the presentation today, but it's a good, I think, mix to have the experience of the Social Olympic, because they are used to adapt different sports, but to work with the federation, because they know exactly the sport. They can, of course, involve a lot of people like coaches, centers, and it's, I think, a winning combination from this experience from Special Olympic and from the local federation. For us, it's working very well. You see this picture on the right. We are working hand by hand to bring the light in this new sport for us. Next slide. The third point is, of course, the involvement of the Bulgarian Hockey Federation on the field, because it's our field, hockey. We know it. We know which tools we can use, how to make progress. We work in schools with young kids. So we have some knowledge and motivated people, motivated coaches, motivated director, motivated president, me, myself. It's very important. The involvement of the local team. They have to be there next to the athletes, and they feel this attention. They feel this love, and it's a part of the success also. But one key success here, I would say, is really to work with regional centers, with medical teams, with psychologists already working with this kind of athletes with their intellectual, psychological, and mental disabilities. They are helping us very much on the psychological approach. They can help us to provide players to talk with the families. In our case, that was the key, I think, to have a team. In a few weeks, we managed to convince them to use this tool. Field hockey, I'm convinced it's a wonderful tool for a lot of things, social, medical, sports, of course, on life skills and competition, of course. But we convinced them to work with us, and it was a key success in this path. Next slide. A dedicated and motivated staff. I worked already, I spoke about the team from the federation, from the Special Olympic also committee, but very important, the trainers. They are like a family. Very important. They dedicated a lot of time first without payments, just for the cause. To have those people for the cause, ready to do everything, because you know in HockeyID is not only coaching, you have to do so much more. Not everybody is ready to do it, but our coaches, they were ready to do it. They're made like a group, really like a family, living together, sharing together, experience together, and winning together. So it's also part, of course, of the success. Next slide. And the most important points are here. Now, first, we decided to work on inclusion, to make them feel as other players, as other kids, other teenagers. So we invited them in schools to play with normal players, to be in a normal school, let's say. It was very important to be recognized as simply athletes with their sports. They were showing their sport, HockeyID. So it was very important for them to be recognized outside from the center with doctors and special people. They decide to feel fully like everybody, even more. That's the inclusion. The recognition is now. Since the games, the World Games in Berlin, they had so much attention. They were, for a federation, the best team of the year. They were the most successful team of the year, by far. They should have been nominated also team of Bulgaria for the year. We're not there yet. We are going to have more recognition. But yes, they were one of the most successful team of the country, which is a lot. So they started to be in social medias, in medias. Look on the left, they've been invited by the president, the Bulgarian president. He invited the whole team from another city. It's 2 hours drive from Sofia. So it's a challenge, as you know, for those athletes. They came, they were received in the residency of the president. They received a lot of congratulations. They were happy to show their medals. Really, it was fantastic. But step by step, even more. Look on the right, it's last week with Norman, Gino, the whole team of Lia. Look how many people, not only the athletes, not only the best coaches from our federation, but also local deputy minister, of course, or director, people from the centers, regional coordinators, also sponsors, and the Ministry of Sports. The Ministry of Sport, it's symbolic, but it means a lot. Who came? We didn't go in the ministry knocking on the door. We'd like a meeting. We'd like some promotion. No. I decided to invite him. He said, no problem. I'm going to come on the field in Plovdiv, 2 hours ago, away from the capital. And he spent a lot of time. He wasn't there only for a picture or interview. No, he was there really because he was convinced that it was an excellent cause. And all the people there were making a change, not only for HockeyID, but for the country. So that was amazing. And it's, you can see on below picture also, Deputy Minister of Sports or President there. As I said, the Deputy Mayor of the city. A lot of people now are coming to us. And I have a big announcement to make, is that for the first time, the Ministry of Sport, they dedicated a budget for a project submitted by a sport federation. In our case, a hockey federation. First time they are allowing a budget for specialized sport, like hockey in our case, working with people with intellectual disabilities. This is the first time the Bulgarian government is allowing a budget, and a big budget, to this project. So it's amazing result. It's the first time in our history that we are receiving this kind of money to develop such a good sport, such a good initiatives. You know, we are a very small federation. Usually we have to ask for everything, a little bit of something. Here, no, that's the opposite. They said, of course, it's a wonderful project. I was speaking with the minister. He told me, anytime there's a project like this, we'll be there. We are going to support you. This social program, this so inclusive, so showing the right example. And to show you the difference, a few months ago, we had to contact the ministries, contact sponsors, contact the medias. Now it's the opposite. When we thank the minister and the current government for the help, this historical help for HockeyID in Bulgaria, they say, no, you don't have to thank us. We have to thank you. You are doing a wonderful job for the country. That were the words of the ministers. So you see, everything changed in 1.5 years. Now, after this training last week, we were in the national news, on the national television, which is not happening very often for field hockey. But thanks to the project, thanks to those guys, thanks to the presence of the minister who came on the field with us, now we were on the screens in the national television, which is for us a huge accomplishment. And we have other good news, is that we are going to have already 3 clubs now. We hope more. 3 clubs. We'll have a championship. We'll have most probably in Albena in the summer camp with the EHF a local championship also, we hope, with Turkey and Croatia. So HockeyID is really coming almost first now. It's the first news for federation. It's the first results, the first priority now in the next tournaments, and we are developing more clubs now in HockeyID than in normal hockey. It's very hard for us to develop and to have new clubs. Here in 1 year, we managed to have 3 new clubs. We have a competition, so all is really amazing. For once, I would like to speak about changes. Really, all became amazing. It's a dream. I cannot still believe it. It's a dream. It's a magic that happened in Bulgaria with this program. And we believe we are going to continue more and more with the support of our current government. And as Marika mentioned, from tomorrow on, we have a new prime minister official in Bulgaria, Maria Gabriel. And it's very good for us that this government is very interested in innovations, in youth, in social programs, in work, in schools, in this kind of project. So I had the chance to invite the deputy prime minister at that time in schools to see what we can do with hockey. And it's very good for us to know that the government, the national government, knows what is field hockey, knows that it's a wonderful tool to work in schools, to work with people with disabilities. So we are very happy that we have a new government with a new prime minister from tomorrow on, and that now we are recognized. We are fully recognized, which is unbelievable. That was my story.
Thank you, Dimitri. From nowhere to TV superstars in 1 year. Huh?
Yeah.
Prime TV
exactly.
coverage in 1 year. And we were in a meeting in Hamburg when people said, we really doubt that Bulgaria will be in Berlin. And then you came to Berlin and you grabbed the medal. You beat Great Britain. I was emotionally disturbed for a day about that. So you sent shockwaves across the hockey family with the results in, but it's great for hockey and it just shows what's possible. And as Dimitri said, because of the exposure and the success in an event, suddenly budget has become available to develop this part of our sport. So great work, and please get in touch with Dimitri and Antonio in Bulgaria and share what they're achieving there, because it's a massive best practice success story. Congratulations to everybody in Bulgaria, Dimitri. I'd like to go straight away now to Special Olympics partner and great helper of our sport, Natasha. If you could give us, please, your presentation to close the event.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Norman. Andre, can you share my presentation?
Sure.
Can you share the presentation for me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. First of all, I'm so happy to be here and many thanks to all, and so proud to hear so many excellent stories and countries who are starting yet with HockeyID. I can't believe it was in the past there was a few countries all over the world, and now all over the world, worldwide, we have them. Many thanks to you, and I will give you a short update after the MOU after Berlin. After the MOU was a very start for Special Olympics Incorporated to add field hockey ID as an official sport. It wasn't an official sport, so it was a demonstration sport during the World Games, and since the World Games and signing the MOU is now an official sport. Hopefully did open doors to new and Special Olympics programs who closed the door in the past, but hopefully they open doors now, because if it is not an official sport, it could be a problem. But it is still now, so that's good to have on board. Field hockey is also on the website of Special Olympics SOI. It's on the sport program now, so you can see that they adopted this sport as an official sport. Also, the rules are covered by the FIH. Many thanks to Norman and his team. And SOI, we would like to update this every 2 years. We make a sport research teams, also especially in Europe with Norman, with Linda. But there is also a global sports research team. And the global sports research team means that experts with field hockey ID work together for this sport. Norman is the global sport advisor in this, and you're working with, I thought it were 4 people. I'm not sure, but they came from all over the world, and it's Norman's background and our specialized group. Special Olympics has also a sport rules advisory committee. Special Olympics has more sports. We have in the thing 40 sports, winter and summer sports. So for every sport we have rules, of course, and we have a sport rules advisory committee who gives advice to our sports department. So I am the member. I'm the lucky one that I could be the member for field hockey and 3 other sports, but I'm the sport rules advisory member for field hockey, and I'm working very close together with Norman on this. The next goal is in 2027. For 90%, it will be held in Chile, and I have heard that field hockey ID will be absolutely on the program. So I'm so happy with that. And if somebody of Chile is here, thank you so much to add field hockey on the program. But I hopefully this will be a new challenge and a new goal for a lot of programs. Hear the story of Dimitri. It is possible. It opened doors. Thank you so much, Dimitri. Thank you also for last week. It was excellent to be there. And also that this opened doors for you, but also for the athletes. Not only for you, for himself, but also for the athletes. It is an absolutely great experience and changing lives, changing attitudes. But I think that this is the rule for everybody. On the other side, you hear Gino and Norman before me that we are busy with the HU project, with development, grassroots, event manual, life skills, coaching guide. And I know that Norman is also working with Fiona Murray. She is from SOI Education Department, and they are working very well on a coaching guide and share information with each other. So the photos were the MOU from the Euro Hockey, and the other was from our MOU from Special Olympics. May I have the next one? Next slide, please.
Sorry, it's already on. Can everyone see partnership between SOI and FIH?
Yes, we see this.
Is that the one you want?
No, the next one, 4. I have now the update, and then I need the next one, please.
I'm on my computer. I'm on slide 5. Special Olympics with development, education, communication. Are you not?
I'm sorry. I can share. I can do it by myself. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. It's now. I hopefully can everybody see partnership between SOI and FIH. Norman, can you see this page?
You're muted, Norman.
Yes, I see that page, Natasha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, perfect. This is just for you. What is Special Olympics Incorporated and what is the FIH? What would I do? On the left side, the plans and research, and then you can see the different, but also that it is very close together. And it is so important that we help each other, especially in the International Hockey Federation has the empowerment of the sports, especially, and Special Olympics has more the knowledge about the athletes and the background. So that's why we combine this so much, and we are looking forward together, because we are always both we are talking about sport, and both we are talking about the same athletes. So that's why we would like combine this, and so happy with this partnership. I will go for the next. Sometimes we get some questions. Okay, which person can I contact? In this slide, you can see the Special Olympics regions by Latin America, Europe, Eurasia, North America. And even for Africa, Asian Pacific, Middle East, North Africa, and East Asia. So these are the most important key persons. These are the presidents, and they would like to contact you with the sport director for the region. And the regional sport director can bring you very close to your own country and get the person there. For Europe, I can also help you, but if you are not in Europe, my colleagues from all the regions, they can help you to bring you in contact with Special Olympics, the most important key persons. And then why? Yeah, what I said, it's teamwork. We couldn't do it alone. Special Olympics can do it not alone. FIH can do it not alone. If we work together, it's make it much more sense. To develop field hockey ID worldwide. That was our goal, and it's our goal still. Knowledge about the sports, knowledge about the athletes, and development from the bottom to the top, not from the top to the bottom. In the beginning, start with regulation level, then you go to a neighbor competition in national competition, regional games, world games, international events, and of course at the top regional championships and world championships, but that's more a part of Virtus. So if you start, you need to get from the bottom to the top. So this is why we do it. And how? I think when you start with your own federation and you would like to start, this is a very short and fast key plan, but it's more a checklist for yourself. See it that way. For example, it is important to make a short analysis of your own federation. Is there a contact person, national director, and maybe somebody in the federation is already the key person for field hockey ID, somebody from development or of somebody else, but it's good that we have one key person for that. And then the next step is the structure. You know your own structure, but every structure in every country is really different. are working with schools, the other is working with teams and clubs. Other federation, other country is working all otherwise. But it's good to know how it works and what's for yourself. Make an overview of the clubs who have already, but also or teams, but also who have already ID players in the club or in the team. So you get a good view before you go, for example, to Special Olympics for your meeting. Who is supporting the clubs? Is there somebody already who's supporting the team, the key persons for clubs or the teams? And are there some specific questions that you get some question that, okay, I don't know what to do because I have no idea, I have no clue. So that's good to note. On the other side, education, something, yeah, I need to find my coaches, but I don't have any idea. We don't have the education, but you have a lot. Federations, most of the federation, they have a lot for youth. And if you can play with youth, you can also play with our athletes. It's not so big. It's very close to each other. Small, simple tasks, and that's also what you do by the youth athletes. So, and of course, there are some specialized extra, but if you have this, please start with this if you have no further included. The next step is also the rules. Now, FIH and SOI have already specific rules to 6x6, so you can find it everywhere. Use this, and it's very helpful if you will start with training and also for competition. If new competition will be ready, can this department help? That's why in your structure, the most of them, you have somebody who is already for the competition, and also for your officials for regular. So, but maybe this department in your federation can help you with the competition, and also deliver officials for your competition, for the Field Hockey ID competition. Pacific as education for officials 6x6. It is still there. We are busy with it in our event manual, in our coaching education for officials. So I think at the end of the year that will be fine. I think, is that okay, Norman?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, perfect. No, that's coming up, but I think with officials knows the rules, yeah, they can also be a part of our competition and events. Then the next step is, okay, we have events, and in which events can our teams, Field Hockey ID teams, play? So that's good to know. So, and maybe you can add them, or maybe you have some specific events, and also maybe you can integrate it in the Special Olympics events, like the local events, but also the national events. And then in your federation, you have, you have somebody for communication and PR. It's always good to put some extra information for new clubs, background information, Hockey ID on the website, but also make it local wide, so that everybody knows that you are starting with Field Hockey ID, and hopefully it inspires other clubs to start. And I think if I go back to the story of Bulgarian and Malaysia and others, I think that will be very helpful when they see it on television, on website, on social media. It inspires others to start with this, because we have a fantastic group to work with. And the last one is, of course, is a very important thing, is the finance. Is there finance to start with new teams, build up competition, playing, organizing events?
No.
Sorry?
Sorry.
Oh, no. No problem. but please go ahead, make some budget free, hopefully, and that we can start with this, because I think that that's on yours. I think the next step is what do you need from Special Olympics, and the same is also what can Special Olympics need from you. So it's both ways. But I think that is good when you have for the first time there's a contact person of Special Olympics programs. Each program, each country has a sports director, and who is responsibility for the sports. In America, you have a lot of regions, and all regions has a specific sport director contact person. So that's maybe good to know for you. Then who knows that Special Olympics has a lot of knowledge about ID athletes, also the education. And that's why Norman is really working on it with Special Olympics education and the hockey education, and combine it now in the coaching guide. And the next step is how to find our athletes. The network of Special Olympics is very big in this, because they have more sports, and we have all the same athletes, because if the athlete will be a field hockey player or swimmer or athlete from athletics, is the same athlete. So the same kind of athlete. In communication, every Special Olympics program has also national, but also the international communication. So especially Special Olympics Europe, Eurasia, I think that it's for the other regions the same. They can open doors for that. So bring it Europe, bring it in your own region, bring it over in worldwide. Of course, the same is for the FIH, but I think that they can help you with that and bring contact with each other. Of course, the rules, they are already done and on both websites. Coaching guide, we have already spoken about that. And the most of the Special Olympics programs has also finance to develop a sport in the program. Not all, so knows that. And every Special Olympics program is always not in the same way organized. In the Netherlands, we have clubs and we only working with sports federations. For example, Special Olympics Ireland, they are responsibility for the sports, development of the sports, etc. So every Special Olympics program is a little bit otherwise organized. But I think if we have the good contact person, and I hear your story. I'm cannot believable that my colleagues in Ireland are not working with you, but we will work on that. I make pictures and I send it to Karen again. So from, hey, Karen, you need to be a contact Sue, because you are so good, and hopefully they will contact you as soon as possible again. But also that they would like to invite you to their local and national initiatives. I think when I go back to the Netherlands here, the KNB is responsibility for the development and the competition, and we are there for the extra regional, national events here in the Netherlands. And we combine everything, and we send out a team to the World Games either. So that's how we're working here. Then think big, but start small. So especially for programs who will just start with Special Olympics HockeyiD. For example, in the Netherlands, we have 96 teams. So if your goal is that at the end of the year, good luck, but don't do that. It took our time also 20 years. And I'm so happy that Bulgarian has started in 1 year with 3 teams and send someone to the World Games. So think big, but start small. Start with 1 or 2 teams and build up slowly. You can better do it good than you started too fast and you lost your athletes, and then you have a bigger problem. If athletes need extra help, please use the volunteer in the field to help. it's a unified partner. It's not a unified sports model like 2 and 3, where you are playing together and on the same ability and the same age. But I saw it also in Bulgaria. Some athlete was with autism, couldn't play alone. His father or mother were together and hold on the stick, and they played together. So they were with 7 people in the field when they were for a competition. But that doesn't matter, because that was more a part to help the athlete. But this athlete was in the field playing a competition match, and he was be a part of the team. So why not? So start in that case too. Build your team so that all your athletes can participate, if or without help. Train the trainer, share good practices with other clubs, use a step-by-step guideline for starting new clubs. Stimulate other clubs to start with the same group too. So share it on social media, absolutely share the good ways, and also the tips and the tops. So they can learn from your own tops and give it a tip to the next step. So it's good to share that too. If you have 4 teams or more, organize a central training or a small event that are not only training every week or every 2 weeks, but also that they met each other. A very small event, people make new friends and play an event together. That's so nice to see. Fun for the athletes is a great experience, and even for coaches and trainers and the volunteers. Now, local sport, Special Olympics events or coach education can be very helpful. The competition at now is 6 to 6, and participating events, local, national, international level. I think, well, when the athletes will be a part of this, they open doors and open their mind, and they'll grow up. And what Dimitri said, they came back as a hero. And that's the nice feeling what we will get the athletes. So thank you so much for this time. Hopefully I am on time, but if you have some questions, please let us know, and thank you so much, and go further with your good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. And everybody should know that without Natasha behind the scenes working for her passionate sport, which is hockey, but don't tell her colleagues that, we wouldn't be where we are now in Special Olympics. She's knocked on doors and knocked down doors and opened windows to make sure that hockey's on the agenda. So a big thank you, partner, for everything you've done for us behind the scenes. I'm conscious we've run 40 minutes over time, so I'd like to sum up, but you've got chance while I sum up to maybe ask questions afterwards if you wish. So if you spot any in the chat, please let me know, Andre. But first of all,
I would just like to because we just have a question from Saudi Arabia, which I think would be interesting to reply.
He's left the meeting now, Andre.
Sorry?
I think he's left the meeting, and I've given him my email.
I'm just thinking that it might be an interesting reply to have recorded, because I think it's a common situation to other countries. So basically, the question is, how can Saudi Arabia join the Asian countries mentioned above in the development and support they provide? Hockey has been in operation here for short, and we want to host tournaments and training programs to develop our coaches and players. What are the things that need to be done?
We'll speak to the Asian Hockey Federation and come back to you with our ideas and our opportunities there, Saudi Arabia. So basically, if you've only got a small number of athletes, that must not be a barrier. We can play a format, whether it's 3-a-side, 4-a-side, or 5-a-side. It doesn't have to be 6-a-side when we get started. As Natasha has said, we can play a recreational unified format. So we will find a way to engage your players in the HockeyID global family. But let me please go first through Asian Hockey Federation to make sure we've got the Continental Federation's support behind us for that project. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, perfect. So there's no more questions on the chat. You can carry on.
Okay. Just a big thank you for everybody who's giving up their time today. I hope the format has suited you. We've tried to make the format where we learn from nations, share ideas, and understand that we're not alone. It can be quite a lonely road at times if we don't get together every so often and share ideas and challenges. So my message to sum up is try and support your neighbour. Be a good neighbour and try and support them. That may be your local village, that may be your local state, that may be your local nation. Please, let's try and work together to get a network going and improve the network. As we mentioned in the presentation, we're looking for nations who want to try out and pilot so that we can improve the resources in the Love is All program. So if as a nation you want to trial anything, please let myself and Gino and Natasha know so that we can share the resources with you and you can have a go and then come back to us with amendments you'd like to see. Please keep your Continental I know we've got some Continental Federation representatives online, but please as nation, as member nations and as volunteers, please keep your Continental Federation fully informed of what activities you're planning and shout about it. Share your successes and challenges and let's make it possible. I like the message from Laura from the USA. Just do it. I mean, when Ireland joined the European Championships, I'm talking about the European Championships now, when Ireland sent their first team, which was really the team from one club, Three Rock Rovers, half of the players didn't know which goal to shoot at. But we got their coaches on the pitch, and by the end of the tournament, they were scoring goals, celebrating and having fun. It's not about putting barriers up, it's about breaking barriers down. So we're all in this for the fun. And as I said earlier, we are using hockey to improve the quality of life for so many families. This is not about hockey, we're using hockey. But again, as Laura said, the thrill that mums and dads got that their kid had been able to be an athlete in a national championship in their eyes was such a thrill and amazing experience. For Bulgaria, no hopers, to come to Berlin and the Balkan Bandits, they grabbed the silver medal there, was just thrilling to watch. For Pakistan to come to Berlin and win a medal and to have a female captain who bossed all of her male players about was fantastic to see. So we're experiencing a lot of fun with you, and we don't want this journey to end. We want this journey to carry on and grow and grow and grow. So a big thank you. It will not happen without you. So a big thank you on behalf of FIH to all of the work that you're doing. And in our small part, if we can help in any way, we're here to help. Thank you, and look forward to meeting you all soon around the pitch.
Yeah, Norman, sorry, we have Gigi from Asia Hockey. He had he had his hand raised. Gigi, do you want to provide any feedback to Saudi Arabia? You're currently muted. In case you want to say something, otherwise we will close this.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Here is Gigi. My name is Ghulam Ghosh, and I am the head of development and coaching in Asian Hockey Federation. I am very happy to attend this great conversation and seminar for Saudi Arabia. Our door is always open for all Asian National Association. At this moment, for the field hockey, we have a level 1 coaching course is undergoing. Mr. Zahid Ali is our FIH trainer and educator is there. So I request to who is Mr. Abdullah, please contact with Ahmed and have him. Whatever you want, just let us know. We are happy to help you with equipment, with coaching, with any resources you want. We are here to help All Asian National Association. As my last meeting, which online seminar with Malaysia, we offered them to send the equipment there, 100 balls and 100 hockey stick for the Malaysia. Same in Pakistan, as many times we help the Pakistan team by the equipment. And Mr. Imtiaz Ali is doing very well here. So hope if you need anything, please, our doors are open. My emails, my WhatsApp is 24 hours. You can reach me. Thank you very much.
Okay, Norman, the floor is yours. Thank you, Gigi.
Again, just a big thank you for your commitment throughout the year and today. And let's keep pushing, eh? Let's keep breaking doors down, and let's make sure these families and these kids have a lot of fun by playing our sport and growing as individuals. Keep well, and you know where we are if you need any help. Please get in touch with myself and Natasha if we need to knock on any Special Olympics doors. And please get in touch with myself, Andre, Mike, if you need anything from FIH. All the best, guys, and thanks for your patience. We've run an hour over, so a big thank you for your patience today. Bye-bye.